go.
Hello, I'm Pastor Ariel, and I would like to teach how to learn faster. First and foremost, learning must be connected to our life purpose or life call. We have to have a clear vision. It is so important that we know what we want, who I want to be, or ano ba yung gusto natin. It is so important. Before we would like to learn anything else, we have to understand why we are doing it. It is important to envision ourselves that we are experiencing what we're trying to learn. I can still remember when I was young in the Lord, I dreamed to be a preacher, but I have a stage fright and I don't know how to speak. And I recorded it. I recorded my first preaching. And to my surprise, it was so funny. When I listened to it, I was really shocked. And I said, I needed help. I needed a mentor. I needed to learn. So, with this pursuit, I began to search. I began to ask for people who can help me how to speak. And with what I would like to share, there are 4 tactics for learning. One is look for models or examples who are already able to do what you wanted to do, what you wanted to learn, what exactly what you want to learn. And there are already books that you can read, there are podcasts, there are videos that you can watch. It depends what you want to learn. If it is cooking, then you can read cookbooks, you can read YouTube about cooking, whatever it is. It can be driving. So for you to learn how to drive, look for a professional driver who can teach you. It is so important to look for models. And if you start from scratch, then that's the slowest way to learn. Don't reinvent the wheel. Look for people who are able to have it, who are already there, who are already good at it, and learn from them. Next, practice. You know, practice is so important in learning. Like the first time we ride a bicycle, or our first time to swim, you have to do it over and over and over again until you learn how to swim or how to do the biking. In the same manner, in the same way, learning is like this. We need to have a practice, and we have to spend time of doing it in order to practice, in order to learn what we have to learn. It is so important. Practice makes it perfect. And by the way, our practice will eventually our game. It is like Manny Pacquiao. His practice will be his actual fight eventually. Like me, I am a dancer. If I practice a specific dance, eventually, if I will dance, I will dance the same steps that I've practiced. So practice will help us in perfecting our gifts or the things we want to learn. Next is, while doing practice, the next number 3 is get feedback. Look for people whom you trust and ask them. It can be your leader, it can be your spouse, it can be a friend, it can be your mentor. Ask them about your what you're doing and listen from them. And if a feedback comes from a person whom you don't know, if a feedback comes from people who try to devalue you, then they just ignore it. Because in any way, they're not adding value to you. Look for people whom you can trust, because asking for feedback The purpose of this is to, to continuously learn and to grow and to improve. That's the purpose of asking feedback, and not to get emotional. At times, it can be painful, but in any way, get the value of the evaluation or the feedback. Lastly, is have a deadline. It is so important. When we try to learn new things, we have to have a deadline. If it is driving, how long would you like to learn driving? 1 week? But definitely not 1 month or not 1 year. But it depends what you'd like to learn. If it is cooking, it's a continuous way of learning. So it depends. If it is writing, it's a continuous way of learning. So you have to have a deadline. When do you want to master that learning? So let me just wrap up what I'm sharing about learning faster. First is to look for models or examples. It is so important to have models who will show us the way because they already did it. Second is to practice, because practice makes you perfect. Third is to ask for honest feedbacks, because feedbacks will enhance you, will grow you, will sharpen you with your training or your learning. And lastly is to put a deadline. When do you want to finish it? When do you want to learn it? I hope you learned something, how to learn faster, and I thank you for listening.